In today's video, LGBTQ+ channels sue YouTube.
And the reason why I'm suing Google and YouTube is because I'm fed up of the discrimination that we're getting in the LGBTQ community.
It's okay to question your gender.
I'm also thinking about words like gender nonconforming and genderqueer and gender creative and gender fluid.
Stay tuned.
Patriarchy. I think they definitely do need me. I'm on my way.
Do you know what sucks?
Famine, unemployment, poverty, the coronavirus.
Google and YouTube's treatment of our LGBTQ+ community?
They flagged our pride. They did not allow us to buy ads. They restricted us, they demonetized us, and they did not stand up for us.
Well, perhaps we should look at some of the videos that Chase Ross has uploaded and see if they violate any of YouTube's, policies on monetization and what can be monetized. Let's have a look. For Real Slim with Amazeballs review, Hardline Packer review, Mini Peen Sucker review, New Trans Mask Pump review, Real Magic Pack and Play in-depth review, Small Joystick 6 inches review, Zolo Pocket Masturbator, Your Willy Shop unboxing, Uberlube review, Movable Foreskin, Peacock Basic Packer review, For Real's Junior Prosthetic review, Mustang Royale review, Lollipop Pump review, Performance Packer review. Well, this has certainly piqued my interest. I mean, it's not hard to understand where YouTube's coming from, where most of your videos are reviewing dildos and prosthetic penises.
And they broke their promise of a platform for free speech built off of our backs.
Queer kid stuff. Then, they blatantly discriminate against us. Admit that their algorithm is biased and promise to fix it. They lied.
Hi, we are Bree and Chrissy from YouTube, and this is why we are suing Google and YouTube.
Our LGBTQ+ content is being demonetized, restricted, and not sent out to viewers, which has highly affected our ability to reach the community that we strongly want to help.
Well, let's look at some of their videos as well. Showing our body hair, shame, let's talk, our lesbian wedding, kissing torture challenge, how do lesbians make babies? 10 worst New Year's kisses, the gross tongue challenge, 10 worst snuggles, yoga makeup lesbian couple challenge, 10 best kisses, couples boob challenge.
Hi, my name is Chase Ross with uppercase Chase 1 on YouTube, and the reason why I'm suing Google and YouTube is because I'm fed up of the discrimination that we're getting in the LGBTQ community. YouTube is supposed to be a safe space for us. I don't feel safe at all. Things need to change. The algorithm needs to change. We need to stand together because we're more powerful in numbers. And honestly, standing here, watching our videos get demonetized, it's disheartening. It hurts. And it needs to end right now.
The Verge writes, LGBTQ YouTubers are suing YouTube over alleged discrimination, including suppressing video recommendations and demonetization. The lawsuit alleges that YouTube uses unlawful content regulation, distribution, and monetization practices that stigmatize, restrict, block, demonetize, and financially harm the LGBT plaintiffs and the greater LGBT community. The lawsuit also alleges that both YouTube's machine learning moderation tools and human reviewers unfairly target channels that have words such as gay, bisexual, or transgender in the title. YouTube is engaged in discriminatory, anti-competitive, and unlawful conduct that harms a protected class of persons under California law, the lawsuit states. It alleges that YouTube's actions have violated federal and California laws around speech discrimination and false advertising. A YouTube spokesperson told The Verge that the company's policies have no notion of sexual orientation or gender identity, and our systems do not restrict or demonetize videos based on these factors, or the inclusion of terms like gay or transgender. The complainants, including Amp Summers, Lindsay Amer, Chris Knight, Celso Delay, Cameron Steele, Chrissy Chambers, and Chase Ross have spoken out about YouTube's alleged treatment of the LGBTQ creator community in the past. In June 2018, Ross accused YouTube of age-gating and demonetizing his videos, simply because he used the term transgender in his video titles and metadata. YouTube's alleged discrimination pushed Ross to publish a lengthy video on the subject. But what is age-gating? Well, simply put, if any of the videos are not appropriate for all audiences, uploaders can add an age restriction. But sometimes YouTube can do this automatically, especially for content that includes violence or disturbing images, nudity, vulgar language, or the portrayal of harmful activities. The age restriction flag is placed by YouTube's review team.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Amer with Queer Kid Stuff on YouTube. I'm suing Google and YouTube because from day one as an LGBTQ+ creator on YouTube, I've faced discrimination on a platform that touts its support of my community. For years, it's affected my mental health and my livelihood.
Well, in all fairness, you could have just stopped right there and saved us the pain of watching all of your videos. Not that I did watch all of the videos on her channel. Maybe a few.
Queer Kid Stuff.
I've suffered and I've watched firsthand as my community of creators has suffered. For a long time, I wondered why YouTube allows this to happen. It's simple. They don't care. They use our important content to feed their bottom line, and they simply just don't care about us.
Ah, Queer Kids, the educational channel geared towards children. But what type of videos have they uploaded? Well, meet a queer kid featuring Desmond is Amazing. You know, the child drag queen that everyone hates. How 3 queer parents handle kids and gender. Gender reveals stink. Our big queer family. What's a spectrum? Harry Potter is about activism. How to make activist pie. Can I ask people about their bodies? Where do babies come from? Lindsay comes out as non-binary. Vocab lesson. What does non-binary mean?
No one cares.
Hi, I'm Amp Summers from What's the Safe Word on YouTube, and this is why I'm suing Google. Growing up, I was in a very religious household. I didn't get any sort of gay education, let alone queer education, that applied to me and the sex that I was going to have. I create content on the internet that I wish I would have had growing up.
Well, let's look at some of their videos as well. Kinky Hot Ones, Everything Age Play, Paraphilia Off, Guess That Fetish with Dr. Doe, Heart on Harness Tie, Christmas Stream. I mean, look at the thumbnail. Kinky Fear Pong, What We Didn't Want You to See. Kinky Family Feud, Daddy Tries Conspiracy Palette, Sissification, Trying Top-Rated Sexual Wellness Box, Mermaid Leg Tie, Kinky Amazon Shopping Haul, You Can Snap Your Dick, I Can't Believe You Guys Sent Us This, Selling Kink Toys is Rough, Looning, Daddy Finds a New Kink, Guess That Lube, Avenger Harness Tie, Sexting Robots is the Future of Dating. Well, I mean, he's got a point. Why would YouTube demonetize this sort of content? I mean, it's completely appropriate for all audiences, isn't it?
But we're finding it harder and harder to create content on this platform. Google and YouTube continue to censor us and tell us that we're not breaking any rules.
We are the LGBT plaintiffs in a class action lawsuit against Google and YouTube. We are not going to stand by any longer while our community gets dismissed, belittled, and discriminated against.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Queer Kid Stuff.
Hey there, I'm Lindsay.
Yes, I know it's Lindsay again, but I just love her so much. And she just spouts so much nonsense. If only Lindsay knew the impact that she has had on my life.
We've been talking a lot recently about different parts of our identity in our series on privilege. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my identity. I hope that talking about my identity with you can help you figure out some things about your identity. I've talked about my identity before, like how I identify as queer and as white.
She identifies as white. I personally identify as transracial.
Well, I actually wanted to talk about that last one, my gender. Up until now, I've always identified as being a cisgender woman who uses she pronouns. But recently, I've actually been questioning this part of my identity. I'm not totally sure anymore if I'm a cisgender woman. This is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, and I'm still kind of figuring it out. I'm starting to use she and they pronouns with my friends and family.
Oh god, can you imagine the family dinners?
And a new word that I think maybe describes how I'm feeling. That word is non-binary. And I'm going to talk about what that word means with Teddy in season 3. I'm also thinking about words like gender non-conforming and gender queer and gender creative and gender fluid.
Now, we've all heard of gender queer from my previous video, but apparently there's now gender creative or gender expansive. Scary Mummy writes, in the simplest terms, a gender creative or gender expansive child is one who rejects expected gender roles and stereotypes. So basically genderqueer. Or non-gendered? I don't know. Dr. Diane Ehrensaft, a developmental and clinical psychologist in the San Francisco Bay Area and the director of mental health and founding member of the Child and Adolescent Gender Center, introduced us to this phrase in her first book called Gender Born, Gender Made. But it was her second book, The Gender Creative Child, that pushed the term into mainstream conversation. Really, I've never heard of it before. The book is a scientific, yet compassionate examination of gender fluidity and provides ways for parents and professionals to support and affirm our children's gender and gender expression when one or both veer from assumptions. So it's interesting because they talk about the Child and Adolescent Gender Center Clinic, which says on their website that gender non-conforming transgender youth and adolescents feel a strong conflict between their gender, in a sense of who they are, and their physical sex characteristics. Okay. Medical treatment may include administration of gonadotropin, releasing hormone agonists, GnRHa. These hormones can safely, keyword, safely suppress puberty by blocking the production of the principal sex hormones, estrogen and testosterone. Fully reversible, this treatment gives young people time to achieve greater self-awareness of their gender identification. If and when appropriate, our experts may administer cross-gender sex hormones. Now, that's interesting because, in this article by The Federalist, the writer says, however, most doctors insist that puberty blockers are safe and fully reversible, so that parents who decide not to continue with the transition can get their healthy bodies back. But mounting medical evidence shows the fallacy of the cavalier implication that puberty blockers are as harmless as aspirin and can be discontinued with as little effect. One of the puberty blockers frequently administered to girls who identify as boys, FTM, is called Lupron. Lupron belongs to a class of drugs called gonadotropin hormone-releasing GnRH agonists and is used to suppress estrogen production, thereby delaying the physical changes of puberty in a pre-pubescent female patient. But many patients suffer from Lupron-related side effects. Tragically, many other young patients have endured similar adverse effects. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported on a younger patient's trauma after receiving Lupron treatment for a precocious puberty. Now 22, Brooklyn Harbin was injected with Lupron at the age of 10 and soon found herself in such severe pain that she ended up in a wheelchair while still in 5th grade. Dr. Ken Sinervo, an Atlanta area gynecologist who specializes in endometriosis surgery, reports having seen many women suffering memory loss and joint pain after Lupron treatment. He was quoted as warning that Lupron or any of the similar types of medication should never be used in someone under the age of 21. Such treatment is off-label, meaning the FDA hasn't approved the drug for this purpose, nor is there reliable research showing the safety of such use.
There are all these big words. There are a lot of different words like this to choose from, and I'm still figuring out what words feel right for me. And that's totally okay. It's okay to be questioning parts of your identity, especially when you're a kid, but also when you're a grown-up like me.
Well, it turns out that Amo received a bachelor's degree in theatre and gender studies from Northwestern University, and if you're like me and wondering what people learn during a course on gender studies, well, I managed to find the course and some of the modules that are taught during the semester. For example, our bodies, ourselves, women's health movements then and now, sexual subjects, introduction to sexuality studies, mapping sexualities in 19th century Paris, gender and sexuality in African American women's lives, the 19th century, sex offences, work and occupations, focus on gender. I wonder if they'd talk about the pay gap, queer modernism, girlhood in public culture. Now, this is my favourite one. Feminist techno-imaginaries, feminist encounters with technology from Afrofuturism to cyber-feminism. And then pleasure activism. All in all, a well-rounded course full of interesting modules and a great degree to apply to McDonald's afterwards. Or to start a YouTube channel that will be demonetized because you constantly push this LGBT agenda in the faces of little children who just want to go out into the playground and play with Lego, you know?
Parts of your identity can totally change as you get to know yourself better. It's taken me a really long time to figure out this part of my identity, and I think I'm getting a little bit closer, but I still don't really know what it means.
Well, I don't think she's non-binary. I think what she's describing is vapogender, a gender that sort of feels like smoke. One can see it and understand it on a shallow level, but if one tried to go deeper, it disappears and one is left with no gender and only tiny wisps of the gender one thought it was.
Not knowing about a part of your identity can be confusing and scary sometimes, but it's just another part of the process.
The only person you're confusing, Lindsay, is yourself.
Queer kid stuff.
Hey, sweetheart.